What is up, guys? It is me, Taco, here for the DFS Army YouTube channel. Hit subscribe if you haven't. I'm pretty sure you're subscribed if you're tuned in this early. Make sure my mic is on because it's just me. Hello. I like to mess this up usually. All right, well, we're here in Mexico City. A brand new track. I think this is the first time that we've gone international since the 2008 Xfinity Series when they used to race here. It's the first time the Cup Series has been international in a lot longer than that. I think it was just an exhibition race here before, but yep, this is the Viva la Mexico 250. And look at this beautiful 1 mile long backstretch right into a 90-degree turn. It's beautiful. So yeah, it's very long, super straightaway. Not really rovely. Could have been, but super long straightaway, and then just a bunch of technical turns after that. So first road course we've been to since Coda. That's the only road course we've been to this year. Obviously no track history. But when looking at other road courses to comp to here, Coda is one. I think the best one to look at long term is Indianapolis road course. But Coda and I'd say Watkins Glen are also pretty comparable as well. But yeah, we're just going to be looking mainly at we had two big old practice sessions plus a qualifying session where we got like multiple laps out of most people. One thing we've learned about road courses historically when it comes to DFS is practice times absolutely matter. The 1, 3, 5 lap averages probably correlate to in-race speed more than any track type, I would say, for sure. So we're going to be going heavily off these practices now. Looking at the odds here real quick, we don't have many special odds. Obviously, they weren't about to handicap like number of cautions and stuff because, I mean, who knows with the new track and all. But this should be chaotic a bit. I think for the carnage level on the notes, I put high with a question mark because pretty sure it's going to be messy. I mean, we saw yesterday, it was pretty straightforward until the two best cars in the entire field got taken out. It just became calamity. Should be a little bit chiller in the Cup Series, but you can tell it's a road course because our odds-on favorite to win is Trackhouse Racing by a good amount. Obviously, SVG is the huge favorite, and Ross Chastain being the second favorite has a lot to do with that here. You can see Chevy minus 225 overall. Significant favorites over Toyota and Ford, and that's just because of the extra Trackhouse momentum with SVG and all that. But we see Spire even up there with Michael McDowell, Carson Hocevar. A lot of Chevys projected to be among the winners here. I mean, Tim Penske all the way down plus 1,600. I mean, classic Team Penske not caring about road courses. But yeah, it's going to be a pretty heavy Chevy day, I'd say overall. I mean, Joe Gibbs Racing really the one Toyota group that actually kind of has a chance here. We see Ty Gibbs being one of the most impressive guys, but yeah, not a lot to look at from like the odds here. And we'll get into like the pick six stuff later. I want to really look at this practice. I kind of just want to sort a bunch of rows and just look at the names that we see come up a lot. So practice one, this is their first laps. This is going to show who is just hot off the truck. Saw Michael McDowell and Chase Briscoe really pop off at first. What do these two guys have in common? Their best track is the Indianapolis road course, which I have as one of my top comps here. But at first it was looking like it was going to be like, okay, just go off the Indianapolis road course here because my God, McDowell and Briscoe on top. It's amazing. Now Briscoe can never actually finish a race, but good to see them up top. Ty Gibbs, someone we'll talk about a good bit as we go through this data here, but he was pretty damn fast. Like he was top 5 in every session so far we've gone to of the 3 sessions. And here he is up high. And this one here, Cindric, obviously the one hiccup lap, but pretty solid overall. Always Ty Gibbs, Briscoe, Cindric, all these guys are usually consistently pretty damn fast at the road courses. Finishing them, however, is a different story. Larson is Kyle Larson, winner of 2 of the last 4 road course races, kind of to be expected here. And speaking of finishing races, the best road course finisher of all of them, Chris Buescher, he should be a big name coming in, especially after a super hot week last week. Logano, no surprise, always awesome at quickly figuring out new tracks. We saw it at the Clash, the Coliseum. We saw it the first time we went to Gateway. We saw it the first time we went to Bristol Dirt. Like, he's just really good at figuring out new tracks. So kind of a X factor there. We got the 3-lap averages, kind of the same names here. Ross Chastain is going to sneak up there. We'll see him a bit. 5. This is where Shane Van Gisbergen just figures it out. Like, he's a clear favorite. Just no bad laps from him. And that's going to be a really important factor this week, is who can minimize mistakes and not put up these 97, 98s from just, messing up a little bit. Sure, these guys are pushing it in practice. It's fine. But SVG, the clear favorite for a reason. You can see his implied odds, 23% chance to win the race overall. Just kind of crazy numbers. Look at practice too. And so we saw McDowell drop off like significantly here. He's down here. We only took 5 laps, and they were like good quality laps, so it's like fine. But Todd Gilliland, fastest overall in the second practice. Not as many laps taken. But yeah, really, really fast laps from him. He ended up qualifying really high, and his odds are really jacked up too. Chastain, Ty Gibbs, some more names you're going to be seeing a lot. And then Ryan Blaney really figured this practice out. Had good laps ran overall. I'd say probably wasn't the actual best in like 5 and 10 lap averages. Maybe if McDowell or Gilliland took more laps, it could be there. Chase Elliott really close too. But yeah, Shane Van Gisbergen, of course, did finally have a fuck up, but like his laps are so consistently in the good. Him on the pole, it's just going to be Chalk City. Ryan Preece ended up qualifying second. A lot of the guys who did well in this practice end up qualifying pretty well. And qualification is quite important here. Like, how can you run a lap really well when it matters? No laps from Gragson because he wrecked out pretty early in practice 1. But yeah, going into the qualifying here. Now, this is an open session. Kind of wish they did it like Xfinity and just made it one super, super long session. But we saw guys take about 2 or 3 laps here overall. Gisbergen probably didn't even need to follow up his second lap, but just gave it some insurance. Ran 2 lightning fast laps. Chastain put himself up there for sure. Just look at the best ones here. Preece, just a one and done, just an insane lap for him. Ty Gibbs, another top 5 performance here. McDowell, kind of be expected. And yeah, Gragson in the backup just not doing as well down there. Leg, obviously, yeah, sucks to suck. And then Ryan Truex, you can see here Hamlin's not taking anything. That's because he's out of the race. If you don't know that already, Ryan Truex taking over for this car, but yeah, he's just outside of leg. He's just been the slowest guy here because he's just not a Cup Series driver, even though he's in top tier equipment. Like, it's just not his week here. Not really a road course guy to begin with, but filling in for Denny Hamlin, having his baby finally. So, yeah, we see Buescher with just an okay qualifying spot, with him being pretty much an auto top 10. It's a good spot for him here. And we got some big place differential guys down here: William Byron, Keselowski, Christopher Bell. So, look at some of the comp tracks I want to pay attention to. Let's just look at average running position here. Who's just running fast at COTA? So this is the only road course that we've been to this season. Kyle Busch was actually pretty dominant in this race. He did not show any speed in practice this week, so not someone that projects super well. But this COTA performance is definitely something to remember here, because this is the only road course that we've been to on this season. And yeah, I think everyone expected SVG to be dominant, especially when he took the lead early on. But Kyle Busch was just kind of better and ended up boxing him out there. So good on him. SVG, fine. We've seen, since winning that initial Chicago street course race, he's been the favorite at like every road course, but he hasn't won yet. So we see that again this week. He has some of the best odds like ever. We anticipate he'll be the best at figuring out this new track, but he can definitely fuck up. He makes mistakes, and we saw him rack up those wins in the Xfinity series, but even then he was making mistakes, and this is a place where you don't really want to make mistakes. So favorite, but maybe not someone that I'm going to be targeting a whole bunch. I think I'm going to be looking at place differential more than piling on a very popular SVG. But Busch, very interesting run. William Byron has been pretty awesome at just finding good finishes at these road courses, and he's another deep place differential guy, sort of like Tyler Reddick. Reddick's was off the pole here and just a solid top 10 run for him. Allmendinger, always a road course guy. Bell, another deep place differential chalk play that looks pretty awesome. Winner of this race, even though he started back in 16th or 19th. It's a good run from him. Suarez just won the Xfinity race. Just looking at the names we kind of need to focus on here. The Roval, I don't think this is a perfect fit, but this is the second most recent race. SVG on the pole, kind of nodded off towards the end. Reddick also, just a DNF. He was running perfectly fine. Dinger, Logano, Cindric, Larson. Just want to focus on names that just keep coming up when I'm looking through stuff here. At Watkins Glen, this is another pretty decent comp here. Ross Chastain off the pole, held it for quite a while. Dominated this race, ended up finishing fourth. Big time nuts. Martin Truex Jr. kind of fell off there, but I don't know why I'm talking about it. He doesn't even race anymore. SVG starts third, runs up their top 3 car pretty much all day. Just look at the average position here. McDowell, solid race from him. When he's not wrecking, he's a force at these road courses. And God, I wish he didn't qualify so high. Maybe you still play him, but I don't know. He's priced up and qualifying high. It's really tough to justify it, like fading SVG, but also playing McDowell. I just like McDowell. I think he's neat, but I think I just want to focus a bit on place differential here. Actually, let's look at just fantasy points. This is almost a similar number of laps here. We have 100 today, and there's 92 at this Watkins Glen. And yeah, the fantasy points did come from the place differential over even Chastain, who started in first and led 51 laps. Still got outvalued by Buescher, who's just amazing, 24th to first, and then Hocevar, 29th to third. That's certainly going to outscore, but scored right there with like Zane Smith, who went from 19th to 5th. So place differential key. Looking back at Coda here, let's look at the fantasy points on this one too. Yeah, the starting position of these guys. I mean, Reddick didn't lead much, but from first to third, outside of the optimal. SVG with a decent amount of lead laps, starting 6th and finishing 6th. So just not moving at all. Probably not optimal here. Kyle Busch, though, big domination, second most fantasy points. It is possible. But you will, having place differential is so huge. I don't think there's any big place differential names like there are today on this slate. The one I really wanted to look at here, Indy Road Course, RIP. We're back at the stupid oval, which is meant for F1 and not Cup, but whatever. It's a good track, and yeah, Michael McDowell just crushed, dominated this race, started 4th, got up to 1st, and just never really let it go. McDowell, fucking awesome. Suarez started on the pole, was top 3 the whole race. He was awesome. Elliott, this is a couple years ago. Elliott used to be such a beast at these road courses. Still a top 5 speed guy, someone I like a lot. But yeah, Elliott, Reddick, back then these two were like the kings of the road courses. And yeah, pretty straightforward. These guys ran just top 5 all race. Bowman, Bell, another guy we're focused on this week. Larson, Briscoe and SVG, a really underwhelming performance from him there. So anyway, moving on to this week, we can see some big line movement. Like Brian Priest went 200 to 11 with his qualifying effort. Line shifting all over the place, shifting heavily based off of qualifying, based off of the practice sessions. Road course form overall is going to be nice. And I haven't mentioned it yet, sorry, but there are thunderstorms in the area. Now they have wet tires. They do not have electrical tires. So they will probably postpone it if there's lightning in the area. And I think it was like it's starting out with like something like a 30% chance, and later in the race like a 60% chance of thunderstorm. So there may be some delays here, unfortunately. But that being said, they got the wet tires. They throw the wet tires on. That's going to give an advantage to just the overall good road course manager guys. I mean, there are some people I remember being specifically good on the wet tires, like Ty Dillon or Eric Jones or whatever, but I'm not going to read too much into that. I just know it's going to bump up the randomness. Like I recommended more random percentage on the domination station than I usually would. Just kind of a silly week, brand new course, but we're definitely just leaning towards the guys who are overall really solid at the road courses and who don't make mistakes. Not making mistakes is so huge here. Because if you spin out at a track like this, like it's probably staying green and you're probably just cooked. Like you're just down for a while. Like you don't get that free caution thrown every time. They ignore a lot of cautions and you could just be stuck backwards and 30 cars pass you. And it's going to take you absolutely forever to work your way back up. And especially if you're like an early dominator type, if you get sent to the back, it'll take you all race to get back. You're no longer in position to lead those laps. So pretty dangerous to take the guys starting up front. So we have a clear favorite. Just looking at the pick six here. Shane Van Gisbergen giving him like a 3.5, well over Chastain. Yeah, Trackhouse 1 and 2 here. Kind of to be expected, whatever. They love Larson Bell, Elliott, Gibbs, McDowell, Reddick. Not so big on Allmendinger, which I'm kind of in agreement here. He kind of sucked in practice or whatever. But giving Buescher 11.5, I think you just take the better because he's beat this in like something crazy. Yeah, I think he's one time he's finished outside of that. So give him maybe slap a better on old Buescher here. Anyway, they're giving Gisbergen 48.5 lead laps and 13.5 fast laps. I would go under on the lead laps. A lot of things can happen here. He's always projected super high like that, but honestly, picking on the under has been better for him. He's only leading 11% of his laps on road courses. I did not include the Chicago street race in this, but even still, he didn't even really lead a ton there. He just kind of won at the end when he won. I don't think he's never come anywhere close to like 48 lead laps. So even starting on the pole here, he is the best car in the field. Yes, there are just mistakes to be made. There's also some pit strategy to be done as well because the first two stages are inside of the pit window. Do you pit early? Yeah, there's many ways this field can be shaken up. So I don't know. I'm just overall not too big on SVG. Projection wise, he projects under Byron and Bell, just raw. And it's going to be hard for him, but he's going to be super duper popular. People see this, people see like plus 200 on a driver, only 10,500, not like 11 or whatever, and they slam it. But starting first at a road course with only 100 laps, you basically have to meet the projections and lead half the race and win it. Just to outvalue, like say he wins the race, right? It's 50 laps, right? That's like a fine projection for fast laps from 62. What does Christopher Bell need to beat that? What, 7th place, maybe? And it's totally doable. Like, look, Bell just does that all the time. It's so much easier for Bell to get a 7th place than for SVG to hold the lead the whole time and lead a bajillion laps. So something you want to just think about here. realistically, with an average projection, I mean, all that Bell has to do here is come in like 14, and he beats it, which he does most of the time. So Bell, Byron, Reddick, these three, big place differential plays. I think I'm also going to throw Elliott in there. It's just like a great play. Someone that's shown a lot of actual speed, but for the most part, Bell, Byron, Reddick, where you want to make your hay here. I think you want to play the place differential over piling on to the chalk in SVG. This ownership projection, not super confident about it. Could be, I don't know. Maybe I influence people to come with me here and just play the place differential, but I could see it being some ridiculous amount owned in some contests, just really silly. Just because the odds difference with him compared to everyone else, everyone assuming he's already won the race. Like we saw it with Zilich. Zilich was like right there with Suarez, who had the insane place differential spot in ownership. And yeah, that anyone that played Zilich is probably regretting it after yesterday. Everyone thought he was free to win the race. He was like minus 125 to win the race by the time the race started. He did not win the race. He wasn't even the fastest. Ty Gibbs was faster than him. So, I mean, there's just so many things that can go wrong here. I see people piling on to SVG, maybe not as much as Zilich yesterday, obviously, but still, people always tend to pile onto him at the road courses. I think he just tends to go a little overrated here. And then Bell, yeah, he's probably going to be, he's certainly going to be the most popular play on the slate, but I would like to go very heavily over on him because Bell's starting 31st. Like, any of these finishes, and he's probably optimal. Like any of these, just don't do this or this. Like you're betting against him crashing, and Bell is a crash avoider. So just a really strong place differential play. Like that a lot. Byron also generally a crash avoider. Also some crazy upside. Look at these top three finishes and wins recently. Yeah, the wrecks at Watkins Glen Sonoma. This is what you don't want, but most of the time, Byron's going to be absolutely fine here. He's going to move up from 27th and do you a solid. Even Reddick, not much of a crasher, very much a winner at the road courses. Not that great in practice and all, but decent starting position for him. Lower owned than Byron and Bell. All three of these plays are good. Really like those guys in my lineups here. Kyle Larson has a very specific purpose here. He is a single entry GPP differentiator for sure. Because obviously all the ownership is going to be stacked around him. He's a low-owned Kyle Larson is so rare, and he has the winning upside. So you can see it, the Roval at Sonoma. Not the best corollary tracks and all, but still, Larson, he just has a specific role. He's just kind of like this week's Logano, where you just play him to be different. And then going to Chase Elliott, finishing up this expensive range here. This is someone that Brady likes a lot, and I'm kind of with him. Good solid speed. Practice 1, practice 2, pretty solid overall speed. The odds remained around the same. Just a really good road course racer overall. Almost always the top 5 guy. Was good at Coda. Just solid. Avoids mistakes. I mean, I say mistake avoidance is a big thing here. And just look at Bro's finishes. Look at that humongous top 20 streak. Boom. It's incredible. I think it's every race this year. Not almost every race this year. I think it's like, what is that? 18 straight top 20 finishes. And last season, he did this as well. He avoided wrecks almost the whole season. Just a really, really, really solid play if you're telling yourself, okay, we just want to avoid making mistakes, want to avoid DNFs, especially on FanDuel. Elliott's always a terrific FanDuel play. So I like him a lot. And then Allmendinger fucking hates his car, yelling on the radio, not fast. A big checker wrecker kind of GPP sort of play. I don't know if you fade him, but the projection isn't really good. He did put up an okay qualifying lap, but this is way different circumstances that he's ever driven in before. When it comes to these road courses, it just doesn't seem to really vibe with his car this week. So very, very expensive. I'd sprinkle him in a little bit just because he's AJ Allmendinger, but I mean, nah. You can see them on the screen here. See? Here you go. This is what they opened at. This is where they're at right now. So for major odds changes, yes, mostly based on qualifying and practice, but like Ty Gibbs shot up big time. Ryan Preece, big time. 200 to 11 is pretty insane. That's like similar to what we saw with Ty Gibbs last week. Byron, of course, with the poor qualifying effort, dropped from 8 to 1 to 25 to 1 overnight. Bowman from 25 to 1 to 80 to 1, just being slow in practice, qualifying like dog shit. So yeah, big odds movement, just kind of based on how qualifying and practice went down. Pretty standard stuff. Yeah, I kind of already talked about the expensive range. I kind of want to jump down and just focus on like the cheap range because we're going to want a lot of these pretty expensive guys. It's not like a short track where the guys are 11 to 12K and you're jamming in all these dominators and you need to go punt super, super low. It's not really like that. But I mean, down low, you can avoid leg, obviously. Many seconds off the pace. Where avoidable. Ty Dillon, not a road course guy. When you see guys with consistently bad finishes at this track type, it's pretty safe to say they're not really going to be much of a factor. So you can get rid of these guys. Let me actually just do it. Let me actually get rid of these guys. Riley Herbst was fine at Coda, right? And is practicing fine. Odds are fine. Starting 15th, there's like almost no way to the optimal here, so I will hide him. Like if he comes like 10th or whatever and burns me, that's fine. That's whatever. But for simplicity's sake, I'm going to shorten this down. Denny Hamlin isn't even in the race, so get rid of him, right? Cole Custer, super mid, honestly. And I don't really tolerate mid. So you're gone, right? Jones and Barry, not road course guys at all. And both overqualified like crazy. So they're gone, all right? Zane Smith I'll keep in just because he's been, a baller. Justin Haley, overqualified also. He's probably gone. Sorry, Justin Haley. And you kind of can see what you're working with down. Austin Dillon, horrible at the road courses recently. He's gone. All right. Then Ryan Truex. I mean, he's a carnage play, right? But, I mean, these lap times are pathetic. Obviously not very comfortable at all in Hamlin's car. I'll keep him up here, but you can pretty much see these are the playable guys in this cheap range here. Even Priest, sorry, Priest. Like, there's no, like, he's just not that good of a road course guy. I don't see it from him. Starting second, I just don't see how he scores fantasy points. So, sorry. You're not going to pass SVG lap 1. I mean, there's that 1% chance he does, sure. But, like, effectively, nah, he's gone. Gilliland also. Love Gilliland coming in. He's super fast. But starting 7th, like, I don't see how it works. But I'll keep him in. He's like just barely playable because there's like actual like speed there, right? Top 10 in all 3 of the segments. I think there are 3 guys who are top 10 in all the segments. Ty Gibbs, Todd Gilliland, and was it Chastain, right? No, Chastain, yeah. So these 3 are, I guess, they got to stay on the board just because. But yeah, you can see I've already reduced the field enough where this is super manageable. All right, so down low, you can go all the way down to John Hunch and Nemechek just because finishes are like okay enough. He's a carnage play, is whatever. He's not looking very fast out there, but if you need to punt all the way down, sure. Stenhouse sticks out. 2 straight top 20 finishes for him. And yeah, he had a series of wrecks, right? But like top 20 is like he can do it. It's fine. Terrible practice 1, but kind of figured it out in practice 2. So whatever, 400 to 200 overnight odd shifts. Stenhouse, you're in. You're solid. You're a punt play today. Zane Smith, also pretty good finishes overall. Like practices, whatever, it's fine. Starting 24th, yeah, it's a bit high. It's not great, but you are just borderline playable if I need to. Not the best play, probably the worst of all the guys I have left, but he's playable. Gregson, Starting in the back, it just was top 10 at Coda. Like, you're playable in a backup. I don't really care. You're playable. You're good. Truex, raw carnage play. Technically a JGR equipment, but he's not really that playable. I'm just kind of keeping him on here. Just, carnage, because there will be some carnage here. Starting all the way back in 36, like, fine, just borderline playable. Probably with Zane Smith, but it's really Gregson, Stenhouse, Nemechek. That's like the core down low, right? And then you've got place differential with Keselowski, not a road course guy at all. Everyone's always known, but like 30th to 15th, like, you'll take 43 fantasy points down low. Like, he doesn't need a top 10 starting 30th at 66. Like, he's priced like, a Gilliland usually would be. Well, he's priced right there with Gilliland, but we're not expecting, like a top 10, top 5 finish like we would usually expect out of Keselowski upside-wise on a given week. He's 66. He just needs to have a good $6,600 performance. It's fine. He projects out fine. Gilliland, I mean, this speed could just be real, and he runs top 10. Like, top 10, 32 points. He probably needs to run like top 7, right? And then he's looking solid. But yeah, he's down there with Zane Smith and Truex as being like just barely playable. Like, you're not playing him much at all. Bubba Wallace, his odds did go down, but they actually jumped back up this morning. So it's kind of the same. Starting back in 25th, like a 20th place dude, 15th to 20th pretty regularly, which, is fine. The upside isn't terrific. Like, we're not seeing a lot of top 10s out of him at these super speed, or not super speedways. See a lot of top 10s out of him at super speedways. No, these road courses. His practice 2 was fine, Bubba here. Yeah, practice 2 was solid, Starting 25th, he's definitely playable. So you can see your core here for down low. This is who you're playing to be able to afford, your mix and match guys that you want a ton of up here. Just how the slate goes here. Let me blow this up. Might as well. There you go, guys. Actually, boom. There. A lot easier to work with now, eh? You've got your Penske bros, Blaney and Logano. Penske has never been a team that you attack for road courses. I think, remember from the odds, the manufacturer odds, like any other team was rated higher than Penske. Like, RFK was the Ford team to beat for sure. But, Logano, Blaney, like, they've grabbed top 10s, like a lot more top 10s we're used to seeing them. Like, usually, especially like Logano, never gave a shit about road courses, never came top 10, was like a 20th place dude. Not only does he have the extra factor of being able to figure out new tracks better than other people, like, he has some top 10 runs at these road courses, and was actually 8th and 7th in the 2 practice sessions. Starting 9th, though, he's in a super awkward spot. I don't really like him, unfortunately. But Blaney, $7,200 starting 18th with some long run speed from the practice 2, because practice 1 he was definitely off. But practice 2, which is more similar to race condition, more rubber down, all that, like, he figured some shit out. Starting 18th at 72, he's pretty playable. Logano, I'm not going to be playing a whole lot of, right? But I'll still have some just because it's a new track. Like, I'll have, probably just a bit under the field here, like 10% or whatever. But Blaney is solid, cheap value option here. And yeah, he's going to get some fast laps, I think, in there, and probably push forward a little bit, push for a top 10. It's not a bad play there. Ty Gibbs, again, top 5 in all the sessions. Top 4, really. Just fast overall. Was the fastest car in the Xfinity race, and racing the Xfinity race will certainly help out him, Bell, Chastain, or not Chastain, him, Bell, and Suarez, the other Trackhouse guy. Suarez ended up winning the race, but Ty Gibbs was the fastest. He was faster than Connor Zilich, just barely. It was him and Zilich were just miles ahead of the field. Obviously got taken out in that calamity later on in the race, but very impressive run from Ty Gibbs. awesome practice time. Like everything's going his way. That's why his odds are jumped up to 10. It's just he can't finish these races. Like he's always fast like this. He had 3 straight top 5s in a row at road courses, which is like what we expect out of a guy who came in the Xfinity Series and won his first ever race at a road course. Like these finishes are what we're kind of used to seeing from Ty Gibbs. He had that horrible stretch of just DNFs or whatever, but if he can hold it together, he's going to be one of the top cars in the slate. And he's cheap enough where, yeah, if he just hangs like top, it'd probably have to be like top 7 or so. He scores pretty decently. And he's got top 7 speed. It's just, can he finish a race? Can he avoid mistakes? It's so important to avoid mistakes here. And Ty Gibbs, unfortunately, he's young, makes a lot of mistakes. Another guy who's young and makes a lot of mistakes, Carson Hocevar. Going to be very popular. Has good road course finishes so far. And my God, his upside has been pretty unlimited recently. Hasn't really mattered where we're at. The dude is flying up to the top 2 pretty consistently, finding himself up there. Hasn't shown the speed this weekend, but he's just going to be a popular play starting in the back half of the field for pretty cheap with a teammate and Michael McDowell that can help him a lot with the Spire setup here. So pretty good spot. It's just chalky. And then Alex Bowman starting a bit deeper back just has struggled a lot this week. We've seen his odds drop significantly. So always manages good finishes. We usually see him at most track types running a bit farther back than where he finishes. Here at the road courses, he's actually running a bit higher than where he ends up finishing. Yeah, the struggle so far is a little bit concerning. There is definitely a chance that guys can just sort of miss the setup here, and the lack of downforce, or the lack of horsepower, rather, with the elevation, kind of just fucks with some teams. Like I could see a lot of teams just not getting off the ground. It's possible with Bowman here, because usually Bowman starting 29th, doesn't really matter the track type. Like you see his finishes, like that's going to be a really strong play. I just have a little bit of concern because he does look like a car that is pretty slow out there. So I wouldn't go too crazy with him. Briscoe looked really strong. He always looks great at these road, like he's running top 10 in like most of these road courses. Just he's always finding he makes a lot of mistakes, and that's what holds him back for me. Like he's in much better equipment now with JGR. Like he should on paper be a great play. He should have top 10 upside. It's just if we're attacking mistake avoidance, Briscoe is just someone that makes too many mistakes for me. Again, I see him running. Like I see him pushing forward into the top 10, maybe the top 5 here, but you know, he loves the tire barriers. Every road course you've been to, he hits the tire barriers like multiple times. I don't know what his deal is. Cindric, another guy, not good finishes, but was top 10 pretty much in most of these. Like he started out his career awesome at the road courses, consistent top 10 dude, the best road course racer for Penske for sure. Starting back in 20th, like he's a fine play. I like him. I think he has a potential to finish here. Good second practice, right? It's just, can he avoid the mistakes? I don't think he makes as many as Briscoe, but yeah, he's just been pretty unlucky at the road courses overall. I'll give him a slight edge over Briscoe here in this range, but obviously Bowman and Hocevar are going to be the more popular guys as they have more place differential to work with here. McDowell, loved him coming in, loved him after the first practice session. Second practice session, only ran 5 laps. We're not going to count that too much against him. We see he's 25th on the board, but like realistically, his laps are fine. You know, a lot of green there. Not many mistakes. Practice 1, we see. There's a mistake there, but I mean, for the most part, kept it pretty clean. It's just starting 5th. It's going to be difficult for him. He's going to need to have like an Indy road course style, just utter domination like we saw here, you know, starting up in the top 5 and just leading a bunch of it, which he is capable of. But now that he's actually getting priced up, finally, it took way too long for them to start pricing him right here. But he's just going to be held back projection wise because he's starting so high, and SVG is projecting for so many lead laps. I don't know how many are left for McDowell there, but not someone you want to uncheck by any means. Chris Buescher, starting at 16th again. The finishes are ridiculous when it comes to mistake management. Like, how could you look at someone with these finishes and think, okay, that guy's going to make mistakes? He's not really going to. He was 6th and 5th overall. The practice sessions, the averages are kind of whatever, but I mean, he's coming off a week where he had the fastest car last week. Different package and all, but still, just Buescher. We're talking about minimizing mistakes. Like, he's even better than Elliott, even better than Byron, at least at the road courses, because the dude is just a finishing machine. So, again, take his better on the prop sites, like his better than 11.5 or whatever, because you can see dude is always better than 11.5. So those are some good props for him. But yeah, 8.4. I like him in cash. Like, this is super cashy, right? Starting 16th, should move a little bit forward. Top 10, even top 5 upside, winning upside. Just won at Watkins Glen legitimately last year, just a few races ago. So love Buescher. Suarez, I mean, build whatever narrative you want here. He's going to be very popular now, ownership-wise. Starting 10th, like, he has not been able to finish shit, but he's had like top 10, top 5 speed a lot of these. It's just, he does make a lot of mistakes. He wrecked out in practice in Xfinity, but ended up surviving that big wreck at the end to win. So, winner of the Xfinity race. Definitely not the fastest car in the Xfinity race, but end up getting it done. Suarez, I see just being a little bit too popular. The narrative around, people thinking they're going to fix the race for him. You can make that argument for the Xfinity race or whatever, but this race, I don't know. I think he's going to come in just overrated here. Kyle Busch, again, like I said, Coda was awesome for him, leading all those laps. Have not seen the speed this week. It's been a frustrating week for him, so kind of projects out to sort of whatever play. I would mostly ignore this play, but I can't ignore the Coda performance, so I'm going to play him a handful, probably just a bit under his ownership projection. And then mean back up in here at the group I already talked about. Ross Chastain jumped to second favorite overnight. One of the guys who was top 10 in all the sessions. Really fast in practice too, which is, I think, a little bit more important than practice 1 here. So he's also a guy that just has been up there a lot in these road course races. Like, several top 10 finishes coming in, a winner at Coda in the past. Again, it's hard to justify this play with no place differential to work with. It's just, he's going to be one of the favorites to finish in the top 5 for sure, just with the speed he's showing. But overall, him, not so big on. Dinger kind of hates his car. You can't check him because he's Dinger, whatever, but not really big on this play. Going to go well underweight on him. And that's kind of the slate here. So I think most lineups here, I'm not using any dominator rules here. If any, I'm doing like an at most 2 or whatever, maybe even an at most 1, because I really don't want much place differential at all. Like, you can take a Giesbergen and say he's just going to lead the whole race, but then you just want as much place differential with him as you can because there are only 100 laps to go around. But yeah, if you just take like Bell, Byron, Reddick, and then just cheap plays, like, you're fine. I don't think you need a lap leader here. And if you do, it could just as well be someone, like a Chase Elliott starting 12th or whatever. So I don't see any rules being. I don't see the necessity for rules in the domination station here. So let's see if there are any comments y'all have been throwing up. Yeah, so Bubba has been like improving, as in just like, consistently being this, like, obviously he's not wrecking out every single fucking race like before, but he's gone from being checkers and wreckers to just points racing. This is so clearly points racing, which is fine. He needs to point race. But 25th to 15, does that get it done at 6-8? Yeah, probably. That's fine. But like, you know, the severe upside I'd say is limited. But if he just points races way up to a 15th, that's all right, you know. Requiem play, dumb cheap on Fanduel, yes indeed. Dumb cheap on Draftkings too. Honestly, he was the core punt play way down there. One. So when it comes, yeah, drivers in the top 10, like one, maybe two. Like at most two would be a very conservative rule if you're, you know, mass multi-entering. But if you're doing like 20 entries or whatever, I'd limit it to one. I'd do like an at most one dominator. Just have that guy be like the lap leader. I mean, we can see when we go back in these. Yeah, here we had Giesbergen and Bush both in the top 10 that ended up being optimal. So like, yeah, at most two probably here. We got the Roval. Yeah, we had several guys in the top 10 here because he kind of ran up there the whole time. But Roval's a little bit different. There's a few more laps. Not too many more laps, but a few more laps of the Roval. Watkins Glen. Yeah, we had two top 10 guys. Yeah, I'd say at most two. Or yeah, at most two seems pretty perfect here. Indy. We had three. Because the top five just kind of stayed the top five all race. But even then, you probably couldn't afford that. I guess you could. You could afford that. For me, I'd go at most two. That was yesterday, but maybe. Shit. He's really good at road courses. Like, I think it goes a bit underrated. Like, he had that little stretch there, right? But then since these finished, like, he was really fast in some of these races too. Like Coda finishes 34th. What was he actually? I want to look. Right? Yeah. He was all right. He was fine. Got taken out there. Right? Charlotte Roval, where's my boy Gibbs? 18th. Pushed his way got up to 7th after the caution, right? And then boom, he's part of the second caution. Sucks to suck. Where's he at Indy? I don't know if he erased this one. No. Yeah. He's starting 24. Gibbs starting 16th. Caution immediately. Worked his way up to 4th for this caution, like fast. And then boom. Can he actually finish a race? That's the question with old Gibbs. Yeah. So Priest, I almost want to say Priest and Briscoe, two guys that like are just good at braking on the flat tracks and stuff, and that's going to be important here. Like braking is such a huge issue at this track, so that could work for him. It's just starting second. I don't see how Priest gets optimal. He would have to like lead or finish top 3 or something. I don't know. Which sucks because I've been loving Priest this year. He's been awesome. I don't think I'll buy high on him here. Maybe if it was like a short flat track, I'd play him starting second. But track like this with 100 laps to go around, it just doesn't make sense logically. So this is the race here. My winner pick. I'm not going to pick SVG to win. I like Chase Elliott getting back into the winner's circle. It's been a while. He hasn't won in the next gen, which is crazy. He used to win nonstop before the switch here, but I think he can get it done here. I think he manages his race well. I think he finds a way to put it up there at the end. He was pretty close with Coda. I think this is an excellent race for him. Sorry, I'm not picking Daniel Suarez to win in Mexico. He won yesterday. That should be good, right? Yeah, SVG has a 23% adjusted implied win probability to win this race. Yes. So almost a quarter of the time, if you were to sim it, he would be winning the race. But we've also seen race winners at road courses not even be optimal. It's happened. So yep, that's the slate for today. Good luck, guys. Helmets up top. Rooting for Chase Elliott. Let's go place differential. prey on SVG's downfall again. It's worked so far, pretty much every single race. Yeah, that's kind of the strat. I wouldn't say treat it like an ultimate road, like super speedway. I wouldn't just stack the guys in the very back, right? Because a lot of them are just slow and suck for a reason. I'd avoid the guys I'd avoid these guys right here. Where are they at? To road courses versus average. Like these guys, Barry Keselowski. Well, not completely avoiding because of where he's starting, but yeah, like these guys typically just suck ass at road courses, like comparatively to the other tracks. So I wouldn't take as many of these guys, but situationally, if they work, like Stenhouse, for example, being so cheap and starting so far back, like if it works, it works. But for the most part, not really messing with the bad road course drivers, like the really, really bad ones, like Eric Jones, Austin Dillon, whatever. Also not going too crazy on like the ringers. Like I'm not going a bunch of dinger just because, or even McDowell, unfortunately, because it's really about attacking place differential here and finishing position. And then the third most important is the dominator points, who we assume they're just all going to SVG, but they may not. All the dominator points may go to like a Ryan Blaney or something. You don't really know this is going to work out. We've never been here before. We don't know if there's going to be a giant pileup after the first turn and the first straightaway. So that'll do it for today. Good luck. Helmets up, boys. We had some pretty good wins yesterday. Let's keep it going today. And I'll see you next time. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there.